to another gathering of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. Have a seat by the fire as we prepare to help you unlock the secrets of the travel life. From theme park thrills to Purple Mountain's majesty, we want to see it all and do it all, and we want to help you do the same. We all have those bucket list trips, once-in-a-lifetime destinations that we'll get to someday. We're here to help you make your travel dreams a reality. Buy the ticket, take the trip. Where do you want to go?
Come on, now tell me what's on your bucket list. Okay, hey, it's a beautiful day. Okay, hey, it's a beautiful day.
Kaboom! We're celebrating Independence Day with a stroll around Liberty Square. But first, some news, including cruising, fireworks return to the Disney parks, and less than incredible new rooms at the Contemporary Hotel. Grab your fife and your tri-cornered hat. It's time to hit the trail with the Gold Key Adventurers Society! Welcome back to another meeting of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. My name is Dan Leonard, and joining me this week in the studio is Heather Strait.
Hello.
Jeff, the Poop Ditch Williams.
That's me.
And we're happy to welcome back Jess Evans.
This is the sound of my voice.
Hey, you've got a voice, and it's in our ears. This week, we're continuing our Grand Circle Tour of Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom with a well-timed stop in Liberty Square. But first, there's some exciting news out of the Disney theme parks. This week's news, as always, is brought to you by Key to the World Travel. Key to the World Travel is a full-service travel agency specializing in theme parks, cruising, and destinations around the world. Head to www.keytotheworldtravel.com for more details and a no-obligation quote on the vacation of a lifetime. Guys, they brought the fireworks back to the parks just in time for the 4th of July. Jess, tell us more.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess as of when people will be listening to this, nighttime entertainment has returned to the United States Disney parks, which is really awesome. So the fireworks return to Walt Disney World on July 1st with Happily Ever After at Magic Kingdom and Epcot Forever at Epcot. And then Mickey's Mix Magic, which is really hard
Just
to say.
rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Especially after you've had a few beers. Not to say that I have, but that came back to Disneyland on July 4th. And so now we've got nighttime shows going again. And then with that, like right after that, we got another announcement that we're getting 3 new shows for the 50th anniversary on October 1st at Walt Disney World. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're finally going to see Harmonious. They're finally going to put those barges to work that have been floating out there, stinking up the skyline.
Being ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, but they got brand new stockings put on them. Now they look really nice. They're gray instead of black.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now it looks less like a Leonard Skinner stage breakdown, I guess.
Yeah, and we're going to get Disney Kite Tales. This is going to be a new daytime show at Animal Kingdom, which is going to be...
I wondered what they were going to do with that whole amphitheater where the rivers of light...
We've got a little pond with an amphitheater around it. What can we do in here?
Kites.
Yeah.
Summon the kites.
Kites.
Yeah, so this is at the Discovery River Amphitheater, and it's going to feature kites and wind catchers, some stretching to 30 feet long, that are going to depict Disney animal friends like Simba.
But it's kites on jet skis, right?
Yeah, and then there's going to be some jet skis too, and because this is happening during the middle of the day at Animal Kingdom, you're each going to be handed an egg that you will be able to fry on the top of your head while you're sitting there. So
awesome! I can't wait.
That sounds pretty cool to me.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. If I don't know about the piling into the burning hot amphitheater, but
yeah. I mean, they're really trying to sort of make lemonade out of the lemons that was the nighttime show that I can't even remember the name of. Rivers of Light.
Rivers of Light.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
It was like my nickname in high school. But think of how cool it'll be if you could get one of those coveted seats down there at the Flame Tree Barbecue patio while the show's going on.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
You can eat some mediocre smoked meats while you watch 30-foot kites get tangled up and snatch the driver right off his jet ski. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Maybe they'll let them bring those jet skis in close enough to the seating area that there will be like a splash zone like at SeaWorld.
Yes.
Ooh,
Cool you
get
down
your
a little
ribs
bit.
wet.
Yeah.
Or just have Gallagher perform out there in the middle.
With never
Bust
mind.
up some watermelons.
But better watermelons than baby animals. Anyway, Jess, what were you going to say?
Oh, that was dark.
Wow.
Yeah, that took a turn.
Yeah. Well,
But the most exciting news, I think, with all of that is the new Disney Enchantment fireworks and projection show that's going to be coming to Magic Kingdom.
Finally, projection show down Main
That's
Street.
exciting.
So
Yeah.
excited.
So yeah, it's
Jeff
going to have.
Williams has been advocating for that for years.
Yeah, if it has the Disneyland Forever vibes, I'm here for it, because that was an amazing show, and having the projections all the way down Main Street made anywhere you were a great seat.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And like we said, October 1st for those new shows. I'm going to be there. Hopefully be able to see some of that.
And what is it? Disneyland's bringing them back on the 4th, right?
Yeah, Disneyland bringing Mickey Mix Magic back on July 4th. So.
Oh, Smicky Smicky.
So, and I mean, at this point, we're kind of really only missing character experiences and parades. So,
Yeah.
By the time you're listening to this, Heather and I have had a great time
Yeah.
last week at the
Watching those fireworks.
beginning of the fireworks. So
Well,
we
sure,
will
they were
be
great.
there.
Let you know whether it was
We
any
were
good or
there
not.
on the 1st for the Magic Kingdom, and on the 2nd for the temporary show called Epcot Forever.
And they were, and they
Which
were
I have
wonderful.
actually not seen yet, so
No.
I'm looking forward to it. I've
Because
seen
it was
from a
short-lived.
distance. Yes.
if you think
Very.
about it, Happily Ever After is going to kind of be short lived. I mean, I'm assuming they'll bring
true.
it back, but it's going to be gone for 18 months. So
Yeah.
if this,
I bet
Disney
they
Enchantment
do not
takes
bring
over.
it back as we knew it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably not.
Because
They change things so much faster
World
these days.
doesn't usually go backwards with shows. Disneyland
that's
will.
true.
They love to bring back some oldie but goodie, but I don't know. I guess they did go backwards with the parade a couple of times at Disney World, but I don't think they've ever brought back a dead fireworks show or anything like that.
No, and if they now have it set up to project down Main Street, then they might
yeah,
as well
could
just
be
program a whole new
plus it.
New and
show.
improved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is all
Happily
something
Ever After
exciting.
now featuring projections down Main Street. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happily Ever After Part 2.
Yeah.
Well, something slightly less incredible than the return of the fireworks.
I see what
is
you
how
did
do you,
there,
how do you guys
Dan.
feel about those new rooms at the Contemporary?
I have mixed feelings about them, Dan.
Same.
Well,
I
Mhm.
will
just
say
stayed at the
this.
Contemporary, so it was like the first time for me, and I had wanted to stay there since I was a little kid, and it felt dated, and sure they could sort of update it to be more contemporary, but it's the same thing with Tomorrowland. You're always chasing something you can't
Yes.
keep up with. So
They're getting rid of those stupid flat sinks and no counter
thank
space. So I'm
God,
happy.
those are the worst.
I hated those sinks.
mhm.
I
I
hated
used
the
one
lack of
sink as a
space.
counter and the other sink as a sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never liked staying there with more than one person because I had to use the second sink as my countertop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to use one sink as the toilet and one as the counter. I will say, when I saw the announcement about the new rooms, I was looking on my phone and it was a thumbnail picture. And I thought, oh, that looks cool because I could see that. I like the shape of the windows. I love that they raised the beds and made them platform. And I liked the L-shaped couch and the groovy little table. And then the more I zoomed in and saw it on bigger pictures, I was like, all the finishes look cheap to me. I love the design, but it looks like not even IKEA quality. It looks like
Yes.
Wayfair.com.
I'm surprised it has carpet because they've been changing every hotel floor to that sort of laminate fake wood that I
Yeah.
figured that
Or
was going to be the
tile.
same.
Which I don't mind that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
No, I like
it's a nice
carpet,
look
actually.
and it's
Yeah, but
But-
I mean, they basically slapped some, I love Incredibles, but they basically
I
slapped
do
some
too,
Incredible
but
stickers
yes.
on the walls and
yeah, the stickers on the walls and the stickers in the closet and in the drawers, it feels like Art of Animation. Those
It does.
those touches.
I
And
think
I
the
love
beds
the
look great and the couch
Yeah,
is cool.
I do too. And actually I love the Edna Mode pillow. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, those are going
I
to
like
get
that.
stolen so hard.
Totally. The curtains,
by you.
the curtains bug me. Though they look like they look like decals slapped on there. What would have been an otherwise kind of cool, groovy monorail outline on the curtains. Then they had to throw the big orangey red Incredibles nonsense over top it.
I
don't
thought
like
they were
that.
window clings, like
That's what it looks like.
static
Yeah.
cling.
When they had done a sort of Incredibles test room that there were images that had leaked out maybe a year or so ago when they were starting to plan this, and they looked a lot better than that.
Yeah.
Like they looked a lot more sort of classy,
Yeah.
I mean,
The bathroom I like. It's got sort of a subtle monorail etched onto the mirror.
Yeah.
That looks nice. They fixed the sinks and the countertops, the bathrooms. They left bathtubs in, it looks like, which a lot of their remodels, they've taken out the tubs. And
they left the tub, but they put a clear glass door and no curtain. So I'm hearing complaints of people that are sharing space with
I heard that
other family or friends or whatever. Then someone, because it's all one room and not a separate vanity area, you can't like have someone brushing their teeth while someone's showering unless you're comfortable being nude around your roommate.
What they should have done was
I'm
just put
comfortable being nude around any and everyone, so it's no big deal.
They should have just put a sticker that looks like, basically Mr. Incredible from the neck down, so you could just stand behind that while you're showering.
Okay.
Yeah.
You brush your teeth and I'll stand behind this decal.
Yeah.
Not everything's hidden there, buddy.
Yeah. As it is, it'll just look like Mr. Incredidong when I'm in there.
That's my Elastigirl down there, if you know what I mean.
Was that your nickname in high school?
Yeah.
I've never stayed in the contemporary, but when I looked at pictures of the old rooms, they just look like regular hotel rooms. And same thing as like Jeff said, when I first saw the thumbnail, I was like, oh, this is really cool. It actually looks like contemporary, or not really contemporary, but like that retro futurism kind of thing. And then you look closer.
I do like that. Yeah.
And the one thing you brought up, the subtle monorail on like the bathroom mirror or whatever, if they had left the Incredibles out of it and gone with a subtle monorail theme, kept
so cool.
Everything else the same, that'd be really cool.
I kind of feel that way with all the IP stuff. Like I'm very, very into Disney parks stuff. Not so much. I like Disney movies, but that's not what fills my house. Disney park stuff is where my heart is.
Yeah.
Right.
So and the carpet, I don't know if you noticed, the carpet underneath the beds is a monorail as well. The part that has the design on it.
Why did they mix? Why
exactly? Yeah.
I mean,
the
Incredible
that's the part stuff. They could have left that out.
Well, that was the thing in the images of the original room that I saw. They had this really nice like painting of the Incredibles, sort of like hanging off the monorail in like motion and like it going into like a fight or whatever. And it was like really well done, and it looked really nice. And they just sort of went with the sort of cheapest, easiest.
Yeah, the
version.
artwork doesn't bother me. Well, I actually love
Paycheck.
Bay Lake Tower. They have that. The design over there is great because it's upscale, nice finishes, and then the artwork is all really cool, modern Disney
like 60s pop style.
Yeah.
And they're not going to change that. DVC people would revolt if they started.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like Warholian art all over the place over there.
Yeah.
And that works. And that would have worked, like you said, Dan, that sort of futuristic mod type overlay. But just,
They even said that it's supposed to, it's evoking Tomorrowland with a touch of Incredibles. And I'm like, no, it's Incredibles with a touch of Tomorrowland.
Yeah, well, it slaps over the head. And the monorail is such an iconic element of that hotel.
Yes.
That it's just baffling that they wouldn't just focus on that.
Instead, you had somebody, I don't know how they got that approved. They went too far.
Bobby Paycheck saw how much it would cost to put it together, and he's like,
"This is what happened."
You could have kept it to some nice, the cool Incredibles artwork. There is a nice piece of art in there that I liked. If that was on the wall, but the rest was sort of monorail themed. Great.
Yeah.
If you got to throw a little IP in there, that's fine. But
this is what happens when you put the parks and resorts in the same general category as merchandising and put it under the control of a guy who came from the merchandising and store side of things.
I mean, in their defense, though,
before that, he was like the direct-to-video guy.
Yeah. I mean, in their defense, I like the poly rooms, the photos I've seen of what they're doing to the Polynesian. I like how they're using the IP in there. So I figured maybe they do that with.
It's not as in your face. It's been subtly blended in.
One thing, if you're going to pick a film or a series of films or a color palette to emulate, The Incredibles is that weird orangey red, yellow, and black. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Moana has all those beautiful aqua colors and earth tones and so much more to work with there with the Polynesian patterns and things like that. And this is just.
Well, think if they could have focused on the colors of the monorail. There's some great colors to pick up from the monorails. The
Teal
lime and the
lime.
teal.
They could have made the rooms
Purple,
smell like a monorail car.
let's not go too crazy.
You check in and there's a guy like peeing on your floor and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had early check-in. I'm still getting everything set up for you here."
We're still generating the mood.
Somebody go bring in the baby goats.
Yeah.
It's part of turn down service.
Turn down. It's a letdown service.
Yeah, I think they missed the mark on this
I
one.
will
I
reserve
really
full
do.
judgment for when I have stayed there as soon as possible.
Yeah,
It's not going to stop me from staying there at all.
I showed
The
my son, and
location
he
is-
was like, "Let's go there now and stay there." So
Yeah.
they know
Yeah.
who's going to want to stay there.
Wyatt thought it was super cool too, and he's 19. He was like, "Oh, I wish we were staying there." I was like, "I'm sorry, we're slumming it over here at Wilderness Lodge, kid."
What's the target opening date for the
They
tower?
said that they're going to start. Well, they're working on that now, and then they're going to start on the lobby July 16th. and
That's
then,
true. The lobby and the wave is all getting.
Yeah,
Aren't they in the middle, like the upper lobby floor with the restaurant and all? I hope they tear out that awful Mary Blair stuff and put in a big sticker of Mr. Incredible.
Oh, boy.
No.
bite your tongue. They did say that the lobby is going to have some sort of art display that's going to celebrate the history of the resort. So I don't know what that's really going to entitle, but
Oh, I would love it if they did something like how the Disneyland Hotel does.
Mhm.
it could be
Oh,
probably
yeah.
something like that.
That
yeah.
would be amazing. That whole wall they have down there by Steakhouse 55 at Disneyland Hotel is awesome.
And yeah, so they're going to have the tower rooms. They said projected fall opening, and then they'll be moving on to the garden wing when the towers are done. Tower rooms are done.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We'll see if
Well,
they
we'll
hit
see,
that.
yeah.
That one will just be Underminer themed.
In the garden wing.
I'm the Underminer.
Themed after Violet's boyfriend.
So I guess we got some cruise stuff to talk about. Should we start off with every bit as disappointing as the rooms at the Contemporary is the Disney Cruise Line test sailing?
Yeah, the test sailing that hasn't happened yet and now isn't going to happen for another month.
Did they specifically say a month?
They said they're pushing it off to July. Yeah.
Okay. At first, I thought they said indefinitely, or
They're hoping to have it done by the end of July. They're having some issues with their testing source, apparently. All of their staff, all their crew members are required to be vaccinated, but they are still doing some testing. And they had four
Because of
crew
their
members.
freedoms.
Yeah, they had 4 crew members test positive and then the next day test negative. And so
that happens all the time.
it does happen all the time. So they say that they don't trust their testing source and they're looking into a new source.
I mean, we've
but
only been
in
doing
the
this for a couple of
meantime-
months now, so give it some time, and I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
get that test down.
Yeah. And in the
Right.
meantime, they are having the entire crew. This was the Disney Dream that was going to be doing a test sailing. They're having the entire crew quarantine in case it was truly a positive.
They need to find that same crew that they use at the Mexican resorts that always comes back negative.
Yeah.
They just have them
Yeah.
pre-printed.
But the good news is they also said that these 4 crew members had been very recently vaccinated. So it's entirely possible that it was recent enough that they were all asymptomatic, which was good. But they live in such close quarters that now they have to be very careful. So they've got to quarantine the whole staff. It's unlikely that it's going to spread, but they have to be careful. So
Mm-hmm.
Disney Cruise Line, we're at least another month away.
It seemed like they were rushing some of their reopening stuff a little bit more than the Celebrity that just sailed,
Mhm.
but like 4 days ago,
Yes.
finally left with paying customers,
Paying customers
passengers.
and Royal Caribbean completed their test cruises successfully. And so now the Freedom of the Seas is going to start sailing out of Miami, and they'll be having some more sailing out of Florida. And they've come up with an interesting way of getting around Ron DeSantis and his proclamation that you cannot
the long way
require
around.
vaccinations or he will fine you. So what they've decided to do is say, okay, Ron, out of Florida, they're not requiring guests to be fully vaccinated. Other ports, all of their other ports, they are still requiring guests 12 and up be fully vaccinated. Galveston, Alaska. But what they did in Florida is they're saying, all right, we won't require vaccination. However, here's a list of restrictions that will be imposed on anyone not vaccinated. And it's steep. First of all, they're requiring any guest who is not willing to show proof of vaccination has to have a separate special travel insurance policy that specifically covers at minimum $50,000 specifically related to COVID-19 health coverage, which is a very expensive policy, let me tell you. The travel insurers are making sure that they're going to recoup their costs on, because you'll have to be covered to be evacuated off the ship, private flight back to your port.
I was going to say $50,000 probably won't even cover all
Probably
of
will
that.
not cover it.
I had friends that had to have their son helicoptered out of I don't remember where, but somewhere in Mexico. The helicopter medevac flight alone was almost $40,000.
It's so expensive. Then they are making venues on the ship either restricted or completely off limits if you're not vaccinated. So bars and restaurants, there no chef's table, no izumi, no main deck 3 of the main dining room, which is the most desirable part, not allowed. Basically, none of the bars, the pub, the Schooner Bar, the Viking Crown nightclub, not allowed.
So what, you're eating room service the entire time?
You're allowed to come on board, but you're not allowed to have any fun.
Sleep next to the engine.
Unvaccinated guests not allowed to use the solarium pool, the solarium bar, the casino bar, not allowed to attend the 70s party in Studio B, the Quest game show, art auctions, the Red Party. They will not be allowed to use the ice skating shows except for one specific show that will be for the unvaccinated guests.
And it'll suck.
Yep. The theaters, their Broadway shows, they will not be allowed to attend those. They'll have a couple of shows that they can attend and only be allowed a specific section that they
have
can
to sit up
of.
in the Lincoln balcony.
Yeah. Can't use the spa. Can't use the fitness center. I mean, it's just, they have said, okay, we will comply with this law, but we will make it so that no one will want to sail.
I mean, they're basically confined to quarters.
Challenge
essentially,
accepted.
Yeah. And when you're not in quarters, you have to have a mask.
They're going to go on there just so they can make TikToks about how outraged they are about their freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they can't have cell service
guests.
or Wi-Fi. So.
Yes. There you go.
It's turned off for them.
Wow.
Now, this is for guests ages 12 and up. They will be allowing children who cannot be vaccinated to travel without these same restrictions.
And that is Royal Caribbean?
This is Royal Caribbean. Yep. And they completed their test sailing was successful, and I believe the first sailing with paying guests will be departing on July 2nd. So that's going to be the Freedom of the Seas out of Miami. That'll be the first one for the Royal Caribbean
Freedoms sound like they don't know the meaning of the word.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think it was a really, really clever way around. I mean, because they were looking at really steep fines from the state of Florida if they went ahead with requiring vaccination.
I feel like they're going to get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But
right.
Will it be successful? I doubt it. People who have been suing for being required to be vaccinated have not found any.
Or people could just get a vaccination if they want to go on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, there are other ports that they're sailing out of: Alaska, Galveston, all of those. And that's the celebrity sailings that have already left. They have required vaccination. So I don't know if do you guys, are you familiar with the TikTok account of the Captain Kate, of the captain of the Celebrity Edge?
I love that.
I haven't actually seen that.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, remember, I hate her hairless cat.
Bug naked. Yes.
It looks like a ball sack with fangs.
Exactly.
I love watching the TikToks of Bug naked. I don't want to touch a hairless cat, but
feels like a wet peach.
Ugh.
Because they sweat, and then the They don't have fur, but it's like fuzz,
Ew.
like a peach.
No, thank
We're
you.
getting dangerously close to an explicit
Yes, we
label
are.
for this episode.
But she had a great few TikToks of them welcoming their first guests back, and it's really kind of fascinating because she's basically documented the whole saga of being the captain of that ship while it's been empty without the passengers and what they had to do to quarantine to get back
The way
on the
they
ship.
did it was pretty cool. They had people, so everybody come back like a month before anything happened, and all of the people that came from countries where they couldn't get vaccinated easily got vaccinated there. Then they all quarantined in their rooms for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Then
they
they
were
just
being
get
serious
tested
about it.
every day still. And it was really, really interesting watching all of the preparations it took to get everything back online and
Mhm.
fired
And it's
up.
just it's so exciting that it's happening again, and it seems they're going to be successful with all the restrictions they've taken. That's the other thing, that the unvaccinated guests who decide to set foot on Royal Caribbean also have to pay for multiple COVID tests before and during their cruise, and they're not free. They have to pay for them. So
But hey, that's
we'll
their
see
choice,
who
right?
does it. Yeah, and that's their choice to make. Absolutely.
That first sailing is on the "What about my freedoms" of the sea.
Yes.
The don't tread on me.
That is
Some
correct.
might call that the
Don't tread
technical
on the
maiden.
sea.
So a technical maiden voyage or a born again maiden voyage.
Yeah, that's it. Is Virgin
Well,
calling theirs their Virgin Voyage?
They
Oh,
should.
they should. They really
No, they're calling
should.
it the
I
only
can't
does
remember.
butt stuff voyage.
Okay.
Anyway.
You guys missed me.
On that note,
We're so happy to have you back.
Just want to keep you on your editing toes.
Oh boy.
He edits the show with his toes, actually.
yes.
Yeah, I'm talented like that. Well, we'll see what you do with my second. I've got a special bonus edition of a trip through the Atlas Obscura this week. So we'll see what you do with the second one, because it's good. But first, I was looking for something that was appropriately themed, since we're talking about Liberty Square this week. Looking for something colonial in nature. And this one I thought tied in pretty well. So the Liberty Tree, guys, that's a pretty big deal in our nation's history, right?
Liberty Biberty.
Yeah,
They're
I
in-
remember all about that.
That's what
They're
they
in
hung the
Boston.
Liberty Bell off of,
What?
right? Yeah.
Right.
that's-
Yeah, totally. In Boston,
They
like,
hung all
That's
those
what-
lanterns off.
In
Yes.
Boston.
That's
Just
what
like
George
in Johnny
Washington cut
Tremaine.
down. That's
yeah, right. It was, yes. There's a big old tree in the middle of there's a large elm tree in the middle of downtown Boston, where the colonists hung an effigy of the Stamp Act tax enforcer, and it was kind of led to all kinds of other treasonous activities by those darn rebels. Anyway, so as happens during the march of time, the town of Boston grew up into a major city, and now the site where the Liberty Tree once stood is a big brick building that houses a Dunkin' Donuts and the DMV.
Dunkin',
I'm sorry,
baby.
it's Boston. Every building houses a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be Cheers.
No.
Rats.
Yeah, so there is a memorial to the Liberty Tree in this building, though. On the third floor, there's a window that, if you look really closely, they painted a representation of the Liberty Tree in the window there. And
Can I get a tree-shaped donut?
They
you
should've-
might be able to. I
they
just
should've
thought it was
put a
really
little
funny.
Liberty bonsai tree in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Dunkin'.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It's something more than what it has. I thought it was really funny because it was like this major, they have so many other places around Boston where you can see where history happened. And then the site of this pivotal moment is just this little painting up high where nobody even sees it. So that's my first quick trip to the Atlas Obscura. And then while I was looking for that one, I ran across this headline that grabbed my eye right away, and it was something that you guys would really, really, really want to talk about. So I couldn't pass it up. So we're getting to this week. Here's the headline: The Greasy Pole at St. Peter's Fiesta.
That was my
In
nickname
Gloucester,
in high school.
Massachusetts.
I was going to say.
St. Peter's Greasy Pole.
That was Jeff's nickname in high school.
St. Paul's Greasy Peter.
That's a
Works
different
both
story.
ways.
Yeah.
St. Greasy Peter Pole.
So in Gloucester, Massachusetts, fishermen celebrate a successful year at sea by charging a lubed pole to capture an Italian flag. Every summer since 1927, the town of Gloucester is heavily Italian, and they're a bunch of fishermen. So the St. Peter Festival, they take this great big pole and
It's the St. Peter
Glue it up.
and they hang it off at the edge of the pier over the water.
They let it
Wow,
hang.
the water's cold. And deep, too.
And they hang an Italian flag off at the end because they're proud of their Italian heritage, those Italian stallions. And then they lube it up. And apparently the participants just bring whatever they can find and contribute to the lubrication for the pole, because it says the pole itself is lubed with everything slippery known to mankind, ranging from axle grease to Tabasco sauce, banana peels to just straight up oil, making it a real challenge to reach the flag.
No hot sauce, please. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah, so then you try to scramble out to the end of the pole and grab the flag. It's not unusual for participants to emerge from the water with bloodied faces and minor injuries. And police boats are on hand to help.
Some of them never walk right again.
Yeah.
You're doing it wrong if you end up with a bloody face.
Right. Apparently they give you a trophy, but there's no real prize for the competition. You just get bragging rights that you're really good at running down
a thing.
Lubed up
I've seen a thing like it might have been that same one, but people trying to scurry out to this thing, and they always wind up falling one leg on each side of the pole and just racking themselves.
Ouch.
They did that on Survivor. It was in Italy, and they had to run out a greased pole like that.
Yes.
In
Survivor Italy.
No, not Survivor. I'm sorry. The other one, Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race. Yep.
Yes. Survivor Italy. That would be interesting. What would that be like?
You gotta survive on this pasta.
Try as boat can.
Instead of no food, you're gorged with pasta and then made to do physical exertions.
Get super full on paschetti.
Yeah, and then you puke it all up. That's not fun.
Yummy.
Mamma mia.
Have you ever eaten so much spaghetti? Never mind.
That you wanted to grease up your bowl.
What? I think it's time to bail on this conversation. Stick around, because after the commercial break, we're continuing our celebration of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary with a journey back to the time of the original 13 colonies in Liberty Square.
When it comes to planning your next adventure, knowledge and preparation are always key. That's why a call to your Key to the World Travel Vacation Planner should always be at the top of your to-do list when you feel the urge to venture forth and explore the world. Key to the World Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, specializing in travel to Disney theme parks around the world, as well as Disney Cruise Line, Aulani, and Adventures by Disney. With over 450 travel advisors who share a deep love for Disney destinations, Key to the World Travel has a wealth of knowledge and passion to help you experience all the magic with none of the work. Wherever your wanderlust is driving you, Key to the World Travel is a full-service travel agency with the expertise to get you where you want to go. So whether you're headed to Universal Studios, Hawaii, Europe, or somewhere a little farther off the beaten track, your first step should always be to visit www.keytotheworldtravel.com for a no-obligation quote. Their expert travel planners are standing by to help you with every detail of your perfect vacation. That's www.keytotheworldtravel.com or at Key to the World Travel on Facebook. Key to the World Travel, your key to a magical vacation.
From this gateway stirs a new nation waiting to be born. 13 separate colonies have banded together to declare their independence from the bonds of tyranny. It is a time when silversmiths put away their tools and march to the drums of a revolution, a time for gentlemen planters to leave their farms and become generals, a time when tradesmen leave the safety of home to become heroes. Welcome to Liberty Square.
Who was picturing a Ken Burns video while you were hearing that?
Yes, 100%.
I wanted to hear him speak It was a time of discovery.
Dear Martha, the war is hard.
Yes. Dear Martha, the river of poop that flows through the middle of this place is exquisite.
There's a 45-minute wait at Liberty Tree Tavern. I don't know if I'll make it or ever see you again.
Dear Martha, it is clear that Hillary Clinton was the original animatronic contingent.
You better believe that is going to sound phenomenal and erudite when I've got the Ken Burns style music that underneath it.
Wonderful.
Some light fife and drum music playing.
Yes. Please. I love a
I
fife.
can't wait. I'm excited. So the roots of Liberty Square, even though it doesn't exist at Disneyland, go all the way back to Disneyland. Yeah, and well, it was not so much a square. It was going to be Liberty Street.
Street.
Well, yeah, Walt wanted Walt wanted it to branch off of Main Street USA and have a specifically colonial history themed street, kind of like he had plans for Edison Street and Haunted House Street. It's interesting when you look at his original idea of this kind of neighborhood of various historical areas that were all going to have their own roads.
And he wanted that again, or not he, but they wanted to do that again when that thing in Virginia was being handy to boot.
Yes, I wish that had happened. But so now it's in that nice transition area between Fantasyland and Frontierland in the Magic Kingdom, and it starts the interesting transition from through time and across the country in the Magic Kingdom. So it starts with the Haunted Mansion in the late 1700s, upstate New York. And then as you travel along through Frontierland over to Big Thunder, it travels through time and across the country where you end up in the 1880s in Southern California at the Big Thunder Mine. What is there to do in Liberty Square? What's everybody's favorite attraction in Liberty Square?
It has to be the Hall of Presidents.
I think it's the stockades.
There's so much to do there. It's hard to pick a favorite.
I love to put my hands in there, pretend I'm in the stocks, and have people throw rocks and garbage at me.
Yeah,
I've got a picture of my wife in those stocks when she was in the 4th or 5th grade.
I was the one throwing tomatoes at her.
Yeah.
I just love the brownish, dark, grayish, weird sweat stains that are soaked into the stocks there, and you're like, just decades of people's grossness all over it.
So many cooties.
I mean, actually,
obviously,
I loved when they had the Muppets there.
Yeah.
I thought they fit well, and they were.
It was so. Did anybody see during the holidays when they brought that back recently? But
yes, and they didn't say anything.
But they couldn't
it was
speak.
weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. Like I stopped to watch it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited!" Yeah, they couldn't get the voice actors, I guess. And so they were like leaning out the window, like shaking jingle bells and trying to get everyone to sing jingle bells and trying to use pantomime. And it just felt weird. Yeah, I didn't like it. So I'm hoping they bring them back.
I'm glad they had them there, but just the fact that they were silent, it was just kind of.
It feels like
awkward.
they did that because they had to have them on display for contractual reasons to keep the IP alive or something.
I don't know. I hope they bring them back because that little show was fantastic.
Yeah,
and who doesn't love Sam Eagle?
Let them take over. Let them take over the Hall of Presidents. Keep the presidents, but let the
Muppets.
But let the Muppets comment on what's going on or interrupt in hilarious
Statler
ways.
and Waldorf
In colonial wigs.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And I mean, the Donald Trump animatronic already looks like Sweetums, so it's not much of a switch.
That is currently in its refurb to welcome the new president. How much you want to bet the Donald Trump animatronic is barely visible
and silent. You think they'll give him any speaking lines?
I think he will be
grumbling
silent.
in the back about demanding a recount.
I think he'll be silent. Yeah.
Every 5 minutes, Sleepy Joe.
He'll be out back next to Andrew Jackson.
Yes.
I actually saw that attraction for the first time about like 2.5 years ago. I had my Canadian niece and her fiance were visiting, and they were excited to go see it. And My family was like, okay. I may have seen it when I was a kid. I don't recall, but it's a pretty cool attraction.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd want to see a lot,
Multiple
but it was
times.
very interesting, and the animatronics are all really well done, except for the one that clearly was going to be Hillary Clinton that they spray painted orange and put a different wig on.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I would like to. It's just like the riverboat. I always say I need to go in there and see it, and then something causes me to not be able to.
I don't know what it used to look like. It feels very Ken Burns-ish. Lots of photos of the oldie times.
Like that, yeah.
And it has narration from all the different eras and things. It's cool. It's a lot better than the American experience.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I always mean to go in there too, but I get distracted by a real attraction, so I don't. I just don't make it.
Which one is that?
Well, the
Should
air
we get that out of the
conditioning
way?
is
That would be
cooking
the
in
fried
there, too.
shrimp at Columbia Harbor.
Hey, I
then
love
you spend the rest
Columbia
of the
Harbor
afternoon
I
House.
do
in
too,
the
man. I
restroom.
get down on that shrimp. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I like the shrimp, and they have a really great tuna sandwich there.
Yeah, I've always been like, if only this Captain D's had people wearing tricorn hats, and now I have that.
Long John Colonial Silvers.
Yes.
But
I don't care for Columbia Harbor House.
there's only one reason to go to Liberty Square, obviously, and that's to ride Haunted Mansion.
Of course.
And then to go into Memento Mori and wonder why they don't make more, like, actual good Haunted Mansion merchandise.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
They make crap Haunted Mansion.
I go in there every time hoping there's going to be
Well,
something new and cool that
coolest-
I want to buy.
I went in there and I was so disappointed. I really wanted one of those spirit jars.
Yes.
And all they had was
They got
2
rid of 'em.
shelves full of I think it was like a DVC or AP exclusive. It was the ghost, the piano player ghost.
the one nobody
Dude,
wants, yeah.
The entire wall was full of that. They don't have any of the other ones left. I was really...
Yeah, they used to have that whole room of that. Those were cool. And then the best thing they ever had in there, they got rid of, which was the where your face would change
Changing
into one of the
portraits.
ghosts.
Why did they
you
get
get one of
rid of
those,
that?
Jess?
Yeah, we have one for everybody in my family. We've got them up in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because
Those are my
Because they had
favorite
to
things.
pay a
ever.
human being to do it, Heather. That's why they got rid of it.
you're
It did
right.
take a while. Like, you had to sit for the photo and come back hours later. They had to, and they did an amazing job. It wasn't just like you
looks
turn
so
and they
cool.
just slapped a ghost face. It lined up with your features, so it looks really great. I love those things.
They do still have there's some cool figurines in there in that area right by the exit. They have
Yeah.
some great like collectible figurines. And then those little dioramas like you gave me, Jess,
Yeah.
that you put together, those are really cool.
Yeah, I have both of those. I wish they'd come out with more. They only came out with 2.
Just the 2 rooms.
So those little cardboard ones or the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like little cardboard walls, but then little plastic pieces and
All
everything's miniature. Great.
who doesn't love tiny little set pieces?
Right.
People with babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Haunted Mansion, of course, is the greatest.
Yeah.
And ours is superior, I have to say, to Disneyland.
I mean, I wish we had Hatbox Ghosts.
Interesting.
I'm going to say if we had Hatbox Ghosts, I'd be in complete agreement there. But I don't know. Disneyland, it's got the history. So,
Yeah.
and I
I
like
do
the
like the
outside
history
of
part.
Disneyland's better than
I do too.
Than
I like how you
Oh, yeah.
enter right into it instead of going around into the carport or wherever.
Yeah.
Servant's entrance.
But
Yeah.
I love the room of the like MCS, your staircase room. That whole thing is so cool. And it's not in Disneyland.
The Walt Disney World one has that super cool family crypt outside that you can push buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
I
now they
actually
brought all
like
that
that
back,
area.
so-
I think that area is fun. A lot of diehard Haunted Mansion fans complain about it because
Because they can.
some nonsense about how it breaks the story, but I think it's fun. So they let the ghost out too early that way. They say you're not supposed to see evidence of the ghosts until later on.
I mean, you see that carriage right when you're walking up. So
Right, true.
Oh.
And you know what's cool about the carriage? I'm sure that you probably know the fun fact
used
about
in
that
John
carriage.
Wayne movies.
I was using one John Wayne movie, yeah, The Sons of Katie Elder, and it's an actual real hearse that's over 100 years old.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that part.
And a real ghost
one
horse
at
that's been
Walt
standing
Disney
there
World?
since
The
1971.
ghost horse is real too? That's so cool.
He likes carrots.
Bring him one next time.
Pro tip.
So we were talking about Memento Mori, and that kind of, I was looking at some more history stuff there, and there was a whole bunch of shops that preceded the shops that we have now that were that were really cool because it fit into kind of like how we talked about last week with Adventureland, how they had shops that weren't just full of IP or ride-related stuff. They were thematic to the land. So Memento Mori at one point was the Yankee Trader shop, and it was all kitchen gadgets and Smucker's jams and jellies.
Oh,
I remember that.
all right. Okay.
And this went with some of the other shops that they had. The cast members in there were dressed up in their, I mean, obviously they wear the costumes that are period appropriate. And for example, there used to be a silversmith shop.
But was there a place where you could make your own candles?
No, but there was a perfumery there where you could have your individual scent blended for you.
If I can't make a candle out of beef tallow, then it's not authentic.
Beef, I guess.
That's what they used to serve with the giant turkey legs, a side of beef tallow. The 70s.
Let's bring that back. I'm going to
Did you
start
ever
a petition.
churn your own butter?
No, but you should. That was going to be
That's how my
saved
mom
for.
caught
That's what I told her I was doing.
Send some Imagineers to Colonial Williamsburg and come
That's
back
right.
with some ideas.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so on the other side of the land, they had, like I said, the silversmith shop, which they had like high-end silver. It was supposed to be.
So where was this?
Well, I'm about to tell you. It was.
Thank you, Dan.
There were
take
two
my answer
shops.
off air.
There were two shops that combined into the Christmas shop, and one was the silversmith, and the other was an antique store, which was kind of like what they had in. They had one in Disneyland in New Orleans Square also, but this antique store was open until 1996, and it was real antiques, and they had some really expensive, really rare, weird stuff. They would send shoppers out, and they just fill it up with whatever they found.
That's kind of cool, though. I like that
Seems
idea.
weird to be leaving a theme park with like a baby carriage
Look
from
at
the
this
1800s.
chair I just bought in Liberty Square.
Right, and that's more like
my
first.
Chipperobe.
You gotta be careful not to bust up that chifferobe.
Is this armoire
You
going to
might
fit
end
onto the
up-
monorail? Really should.
You can get yourself in some real trouble for busting up chifferobes. Anybody?
Nope.
To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yes.
Anyway. Oh, nerd
I don't
alert.
read.
So those two shops became the Christmas shop, which is there now.
Ye oldie
Ye
Christmas
old.
shop.
Ye Oldie Christmas shop, which apparently some people complain is not historically accurate because Christmas wasn't widely
Come on.
celebrated in the colonial
what else
times.
is historically accurate?
widely
celebrated in
Liberty Square, so I don't
really think it needs to be about the kingdom.
Yeah, they also probably didn't have hand-painted umbrella
Right.
shops
Yes.
around.
They didn't have a
Or
hot
ye
dog stand
old
outside of a
waffle
haunted house
shop.
either, so like...
They did have tri-cornered hats, though, which there used to be a tri-cornered hat shop in.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
I remember that. Like, why don't you?
I
why
wish
can't
they
you get
still
those?
had it where I could get my name Jeffy penciled right on there.
Yes.
I want
Jeffy
that.
on one side and Poop Canal on the other.
Admiral Jeffy Poop Canal. At your service.
It was poop
Sorry.
ditch.
Sorry, Poop Ditch. Reporting for duty, sir.
Reporting for duty. You're no affiliation with me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we did cover that on the controversy on a previous show. The bit
Yeah.
of controversy about whether the brown pathway is supposed to be a poop river or not.
It'll always be a poop river to me.
Spoilers.
For me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean the fact that there are no public bathrooms in
That's
Liberty Square. Yes, that's authentic. So
Yeah, that's true.
it does become a problem in Liberty Tree Tavern because the bathrooms there is small and gross, and
Yeah.
you don't want to
Again,
walk
historically
all the way
accurate.
Wait,
It
where
is historically
there's no
accurate.
public restroom in Liberty Square?
No, you
they
got to
have
visit
have
Rapunzel's
them-
pooper.
Yes, they have to have them in Columbia Harbor House and in Liberty Tree Square because
Oh, and it
of,
used to be-
health codes. But
Yeah, they took the nearest bathroom out when they expanded the queue of Peter Pan because that used to be the
Yep.
and put it across the street. Interesting. Yeah, I remember leaving the Waffle Hut place there, and I
Sleepy
couldn't
Hollow.
find a bathroom very close.
Sleepy Hollow, yum.
Yes, that's home of a beloved traditional colonial era recipe, the
elephant
Nutella
ear?
waffle sandwich.
Yes, the sweet Thai chili chicken waffle.
Yeah.
That's people complain about ye old Christmas shop, but not that.
But not ye old waffle shop
Right. Or
Yes.
the ye oldie in general.
that sells funnel cakes.
Right. Jeff, you mentioned that you're a fan now of the riverboat. I
I
guess
love that riverboat. So it took me till I was like 5 years ago old to ride that thing. But it's I don't know, it's just something about it. They do the whole blowing of the whistle thing and the whole it's like a whole set piece there. They really play in character there and ding dong in the bell. But as you're going along and that thing and you get going, it's a great view of all of Liberty Square and into Frontierland, and then you get awesome views of the backside of not just water, but Big Thunder Mountain back there. You can't see it all from any other place.
Didn't they used to have like or briefly they had a dessert party on the boat?
Yeah,
And then you could,
Tiana
like,
had
Yeah, it was the Tiana dessert party. I had
do that all
some
the
clients I booked one time for that thing, and they ended it and didn't honor her tickets and never told me or
I
the
thought
client
that was
they
on the
had ended
big the big ferry boat that came across Seven Seas Lagoon, and then it parked and watched the fireworks.
No,
it was to watch the parade.
no, it was right when
It was a festival
Whatever.
of fantasy tie-in.
yeah,
Okay.
they had a whole dessert party on there while it was docked, and it would chug around.
I have never ridden it.
And Tiana was on there. It was like a character dessert party thing.
I haven't been
You've
on it
never
since I was a
ridden
kid.
it, really?
No,
But
I
you rode it
haven't.
with me. Well, we'll have to remedy that last week.
Perfect.
And did you know that at one point there was not one but two riverboats on the rivers of America there in the Magic Kingdom? Yeah.
What? Did not
Yeah.
know that.
In 1973, a second riverboat, the Richard F. Irvine, debuted, named after a Disney Imagineer. Unfortunately,
Dick Irvine.
in 1980, one of the riverboats met with a terrible accident. They took it out to dry dock for a refurbishment, and while they were lifting up by the crane, it slipped and they completely crushed it. And so now they only have one riverboat.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
interesting. Well, A, that's really awful that happened. But B, why in the world did they need two of these riverboats?
Yeah.
Don't know. Maybe they thought they wanted more moving on the river, kind of like how they have the sailing ship and the riverboat at Disneyland.
Oh, at Disneyland, sure.
Mhm.
And I will say, when I first rode it in like 1985 or whatever, it was packed. It was a popular attraction still.
It was a
So,
D-ticket ride.
Yeah, it was full when I rode it as a kid. So I guess they needed to churn people through. It was still a viable attraction. Now it doesn't seem to do very much. But at this point, it seems Liberty Square is mostly like a breeze through. When it's really busy in there, that's kind of all it is. It gets backed up. Everybody's just.
I feel
trying
like
to
I'm never
squeeze through.
quite sure where it stops in Frontierville begins.
Well, I think
is it
that-
like over by Country Bears? Is that where it officially ends?
I mean, I guess
Well, I think the Golden Horseshoe, or former Golden Horseshoe, is kind of the transition point.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Or I'm sorry, it's the Diamond.
the Diamond Horseshoe.
Diamond. Yes.
Golden.
Everything's just one better than
Right.
Disneyland.
I think architecturally that's kind of where it starts to transition to the old westy stuff. Also, the Golden Horseshoe is supposed to be in like Missouri or something like that. So
okay.
it's kind of
So we're
not
moving
quite
across the country
Wild
and
West.
through time right there. Got
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, it is, and even like the Haunted Mansion is kind of just tangentially in there. It doesn't really feel like it's thematically.
It sort of feels like you're already out of Liberty Square by the time you're back over there, but I guess you really aren't.
Yeah. I had one other fun fact that might only be fun and interesting to me because I'm a nerd, but we talked
Certainly are.
we talked about the great big tree in Adventureland last week, and there's the Liberty tree that is present in the middle of Liberty Square there, and that one is an actual live oak tree, and it's the oldest tree in the park. It's over 100 years old. And there's there's a couple of interesting things about it, because it was already huge when they moved it, because they wanted something that was big enough to look like the Liberty Tree in the movie Johnny Tremaine, where they hang the lanterns. And there's a lantern in that tree for each of the original 13 colonies.
Yep.
Fun fact.
13 lanterns. Yep.
So Bill Evans was actually involved in landscaping Disneyland, and then he came over to Walt Disney World, and he used a technique that he used for moving palm trees and also for lifting. When they built the Matterhorn, he had to figure out a way how to get all these great big pine trees up onto the Matterhorn. So he used this technique where he figured out how he could drill holes through the trunk of the
all
tree,
the way through,
and he puts a great big metal rod through and lifts it up with a crane, and then patches it back up with a wooden plug after he's done moving it.
And that doesn't kill the tree.
Yeah, no, he figured out a way, this tree surgery stuff. But so they moved it. There's Walt Disney World property has basically like a tree library where they have all these plants that they can use for different areas, because there's certain plants that they use over and over again. You've been there?
Mm-hmm.
That's
not awesome. Into it, but we drove right by it, and they pointed out all the different things there. It's sort of back behind the Animal Kingdom Park.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Back when you got to do that
amazing.
Really
That's
amazing
part of the
full-day tour.
What's that super long tour that they do?
Oh, I can't remember what that one is called. They haven't done it in a while.
It was an amazing tour. It was all day, but they take you back and show you
Backstage Magic.
Yeah, Backstage Magic.
Yeah.
That's cool. They have all these backup plants that they can move around wherever they need them, and there's actually a backup Liberty tree in that nursery era.
Oh,
so if this one catches a blight or gets old and starts rotting out or something, they can bring.
They have another 135-year-old tree.
Just understudy tree ready to go.
Yeah,
they do.
So.
And that was the coolest part of the thing. They kind of just pulled off to the side of the road and pointed out all these different things. It's sort of sectioned into tropical plants and bushes and shrubs and trees and Northwest and all the different kinds of trees. So when they go to build some land, they're like, oh, these tropicals or whatever they need.
Right.
And they bring them in there really early so that they can acclimate and get used to the Florida temperature, soil, and water table. Because apparently it's hard to grow stuff in Florida that's not native there because of the salt in the water table.
And it's hot.
So they have to get stuff there years ahead of time. So like all that stuff like in Pandora, they probably brought in around the time they announced they were coming 25 years.
Sat there for 10 years.
Bill Evans is super interesting. I'd like to find a way to talk about him for maybe like just a topic of a show sometime. But he was one of the guys that was involved in figuring out how to take the stuff that they had to work with in Anaheim and make it into jungles and all this different things, because like everything was local, and they went and scrounged and literally begged people for trees. They're like, hey, do you want to take that tree down in your yard? It's old and getting really big. We'll take it for you. If you let us have the tree for free, we'll remove it from your yard.
And plant something else probably instead.
Yeah, and he did a lot of this, like figuring out how to use local plants for. So that's really interesting. So I thought that was
stuff like
that's cool.
A neat fact about there. They also have the replica Liberty Bell, which is allegedly, as far as anybody can tell, it's actually pulled from the actual mold of the real
mold.
Liberty Bell in France.
Yeah, and it was cast in France by a foundry there who does.
Is it cracked?
They molded a crack into it.
Yeah, they crafted a crack.
Yes, very
just
carefully.
like the French would. That ain't my Liberty Bell.
These colors don't run. My bell don't crack.
These bells don't crack.
All right. Well, anyway, so the last thing I wanted to ask you guys about is Everyland. We've kind of talked about a little bit of blue sky daydreaming. So what would you like to add to the Liberty Square area to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit?
Zhuzh it.
A lot more haunted mansion.
Kind of already, more haunted mansion. I loved what they did with the Muppets, and I wish they would make a whole attraction like that. That's Sammy.
I love that. blue sky idea of injecting the Muppets into the Hall of Presidents. It's pretty dry now.
Right.
If you could keep it educational, because it really is a good attraction anyway, it's just a little dry.
Then you could have it great moments in presidential history.
But just the American ones.
Right.
Yes.
Just the good
Moments
presidents.
in history, but just the American ones. I mean, who doesn't love the Muppets?
You know, it would really plus Liberty Square is if they took the barbecue place, the Regal Eagle,
Yes.
and put it in there.
Yeah.
Fit there,
That is
yeah.
a great idea.
Just open up a second location.
I like Liberty Tree Tavern, but is Thanksgiving dinner every day really that representative of American food? It's really
And it's
not.
tough eating that. Like, if you're there in the summer, load up on all that heavy food and
Lunch.
then try to walk around the parks.
Yeah. Oh, but a Regal Eagle type smokehouse? Yeah.
I'll do that
I
with
can
barbecue,
handle
sure.
Dan, you recently tried the turkey legs.
Oh yeah.
We got that one for you in Liberty Square.
Yeah, I don't mind the turkey legs. I'll eat a portion of a turkey leg.
Did we get that at the... Oh, no, that was at the place that sells pickles and fresh fruit. And,
It's the oddest little snack.
The little market.
I love that seating area that they put back there.
That's
though.
really
that's,
nice.
That's relatively new, and it's nice, and like they've got a little fence up
shaded,
so
they
that
have the
people don't
misters.
just walk into it.
Didn't they used to have a baked potato bar at that little place? Is it still
Yeah.
there? It is.
No, I don't think so.
No, okay, good.
It's been a little while, I
Because
think,
it's a little,
but
it's an odd collection of things you can get there. A giant pickle, a turkey leg.
bag of Doritos.
Another authentic colonial favorite.
Sorry, guys,
back in the Liberty Square times, they did not have
You could get a baked potato.
Those were invented at Disneyland Park.
a bag of pineapple. You can get that there.
Yes.
A pineapple
Yeah.
or a pickle.
It's odd.
Pineapples and pickles. That's what I think of when I think of Liberty.
And they have a little popcorn cart. That was a
No.
day of snacks. I was getting
Yeah,
popcorn.
right next to the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
There was rumors and supposedly leaks about information about plans for a Haunted Mansion restaurant a few years ago.
Yes.
Came out. That was going to be like a highly themed
They should
be our
just-
guest type experience.
Make the diamond... What would we say?
Yes,
that was?
whatever
the
Diamond
section's
horseshoe. Make that they could build that to look colonial and go right into
Or Columbia
haunted
Harbor
stuff.
House.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to miss it.
No,
Nobody's
I mean,
gonna be
I do
pining for
like it, but I don't
I mean,
think
Captain
anybody
D
will
still
miss it.
exists, so we're all good.
Hey, I
I
trust
wonder,
the Gorton's
actually,
fishermen,
if-
all right?
He knows what you did last summer.
I wonder actually if that's going to reopen soon now that they don't need it for the Peter Pan line.
Yeah, they were serving the food of Columbia Harbor House over at the
Tomorrowland Terrace.
That's so
which used to be
weird.
a noodle bowl place. I don't
Yes.
know what's
Right.
called. Apparently,
That
in the
location-
future, they serve crappy fried fish.
That location has such an identity problem. They just don't seem to find anything that fits there.
No.
It's just a pass through to get to the Instagram wall.
Yes, 100%.
One thing that I've always thought would be cool, and last week we talked about it'd be nice to have add some more dark rides. Sleepy Hollow. They could do a really cool
yeah.
Ichabod dark ride.
Oh, for sure.
Make it trackless. Make it. You know how in Winnie the Pooh it feels like you're bouncing with Tigger. It can be like
No,
you're
I
on the
don't.
horse.
Because I'm an adult.
Get
Well,
some
I have small children that make me.
Let's get some Nathaniel Hawthorne back in there, like Scarlet Letter recreation.
Oh,
we can
I mean,
we
I
can
don't know
throw
about
rocks
that.
and garbage at the town hussy. No, that was colonial times, right?
I was most
The colonial
excited.
times really weren't that fun.
Yeah, they really weren't.
No, I was mostly excited about getting that sweet Bing Crosby soundtrack to Ichabod going in the ride.
Yeah,
Maybe we
okay.
could burn witches out on
I was
Tom
going to
Sawyer
say
Island.
Salem witch trials. Let's
Yeah.
have some witch trial
Yeah, turn
recreations
that into
every
a
day.
spooky,
Oh,
like-
wait.
Coven area.
We have the stocks. There's already.
Like the Blair Witch Project out there on the island.
They could do the projection mapping and make it look like you're on fire while you're at the stake. You know,
Oh, great idea!
awesome.
It would be a great photo.
Really plus the stockade area.
Instagram photo.
just really plus it up.
Donkey witches.
Family
Put in a Johnny Tremaine exhibit where like it makes you look like your hand is fused together from a smelting accident, like his was.
Smelting.
That book freaked me out as a child.
Me too. Yeah. I was very concerned for a long time about pouring molten silver all over my.
Yes, I still am concerned about that child. That child spent many years with his thumb fused to his hand. Come on, people.
I'm going to smile and nod as if I know what we're talking about.
You didn't have the same reading list as we had.
I stand by my former assertion that we need to be able to make candles out of beef tallow. Mm-hmm. That's my blue sky.
That's your blue sky.
Yes.
It doesn't take much to make Heather happy.
Wow.
I just want to make a candle.
Little beef fat and some cotton wick.
String.
Bob's your uncle.
My honeymoon.
I can imagine that candle. Smells really good when you burn it.
Which restaurant is it that gives you the beef candle?
Flo's Viet Cafe.
Which restaurant actually gives you the beef candle? That's Toledo.
Yeah.
It has not reopened yet. The melted beef fat that you pour on your steak.
It's so good.
You get the guests.
Steak wasn't fatty enough.
You get the guests to make the beef candles in Liberty Square, and then they ship them over to the restaurant.
And then you can melt it and pour it over your steak. Still remember the look on Jeff's face when they brought that and presented it to him.
Was it the happiest you've ever been?
I was confused, but okay with it.
Yes.
Slightly tumescent.
The night I lost my virginity.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us again this week. If you're excited to explore the history and haunts of Liberty Square or anywhere else around the world, Key to the World Travel has a colonial-era silversmiths shop full of expert travel planners ready to make your vacation dreams a reality. Head to www.keytotheworldtravel.com to get started with a no-obligation quote. Don't forget to catch up with our friend, the Theme Park Professor, for all the latest theme park news and tips at www.themeparkprofessor.com. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow our show. If you have a friend or two who you think would appreciate our special brand of globe-trotting jackassery, tell them what makes our show so great and send them our way. You can find links to subscribe to the show on your favorite apps and all the latest updates at www.goldkeyadventures.com. We can't wait to hang out with you again next week. See you real soon.
Hasta la squeegee.
I think it was our great first president, George Washington, who said, and I quote, "I cannot eat at Flo's."
To ask a question or share your travel story, you can reach us by smoke signal, carrier pigeon, or send an email to goldkeyadventurers@gmail.com. And make sure you follow the Gold Key Adventures Society on Facebook and Instagram. A huge thanks to our sponsor, Key to the World Travel. For all your travel planning needs, visit www.keytotheworldtravel.com for a free quote and help planning the trip of a lifetime. Tell them the Gold Key Adventurers sent you. That's www.keytotheworldtravel.com. Key to the World Travel, your key to a magical vacation. Thanks to Outer Vibe for the use of their song Hoka Hey for the intro and outro of our show. Find them on Facebook at The Outer Vibe or check out www.outervibe.com for tour dates, music, merch, and more. We'll see you next week for another meeting of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. And until then, remember, life is short and the world is wide. So go have an adventure.